Bagaetsho dumelang, sanbonani, molweni, and welcome to this orientation session. We're meeting today under very difficult circumstances. I mean, it has been 12 years for your children to finally arrive at UCT. And then you arrive, and it is the year when our students are asking critical questions about our commitment to their education. They're asking the government, the Minister of Higher Education, as well as the university leadership about how committed we are to their education. And as we start, I want to be clear with the parents that we as the leadership of UCT are completely committed to our students' education, not only at UCT, but across the country. We can understand their anger, their rage at what's going on right now. What's going on in terms of the funding with NSFAS, and what's going on in terms of the killing of an innocent bystander in Braamfontein this week. Mr. Mthokozi Zintumba. It affects us, not only because our students, it happened directly to our students, it affects us because it's about the poor among us in the country. And as the leadership of the university, we've been engaging on how we can address some of the institution-specific issues. And those issues I can address later, but I wanted to acknowledge this moment that it looks very familiar, and some of you might have seen it before. And I'm hoping that through our engagement today, you'll get an assurance as to whether this is the right place for your child or not. We at UCT believe that student activism is a good thing. It is not a bad thing. Of course, it unfolds differently. We can critique how it unfolds sometimes, but it is in fact an important part of university education. Because just imagine, what if our students, our young people, were silenced? What if they were cowed? What if they were scared to voice their dissatisfaction in our society? Then none of us would have any hope. And the university gives them the space to exercise that muscle, to grow as they challenge us, as they show us our blind spots. And sometimes we disagree with them, but sometimes we agree with them. And a lot of times we work on what they are putting on our table. So we do not regard their engagement with us, robust as it is, we do not regard it as trivial. We do not regard as being hooliganism. We regard it as important, not only for the university and the higher education sector, but for the country, because they force all of us to ask critical questions. Where has the money gone to? Why is it possible to bail out SAA? Why have we done it over and over again? Why are we where we are today? Ask all these many questions. Why did we institute student financial aid in the way that we did, when we know what the challenges are? So what the questions that they're posing to us are very key, and the questions that the protest raise for us are very key. But of course, besides what's happening now, we've had the last 12 months with COVID-19, a shock across the globe. Even in South Africa, with our history of political turmoil, none of us has ever had to deal with anything like COVID-19. On top of the trials of lockdown, some of you may have had to also overcome difficulties or difficult personal problems and great economic and social hardships to ensure that your child got the quality education that paved the way for them to be here with us this year at UCT. But we are also pleased that your child chose to study at UCT. I believe how we respond to the pandemic and all its challenges can serve us in the long run. because the world is facing many types of uncertainty. Economic difficulties across the world. We're facing the difficulty of climate change, political changes, how we use resources, not only financial, but resources such as water, electricity, digital technologies. All of these are changing. So we're dealing with budget cuts from government to NSFAS. And of course, as you might have seen in the media, there's been more than 1 million new applications to NSFAS. They've never seen that before. So these are tough times. Tough times won't end now. And with the tough times, we must ask tough questions. We must challenge our leaders politically and otherwise, and try to find solutions without destroying the good that we have. UCT is committed to helping your child to prepare for change and even lead the change, not only in South Africa, but in the world. So this unnerving time provides an ideal learning and teaching arena. And so I don't want you to see it as an advantage that your child comes to UCT at this time. It's an ideal learning environment, and we will make the most of it. We do not take your child's choice of university lightly. In fact, it is a great honor that you have entrusted your child's future to us. Every student who comes to study at UCT is our child too. And I make this commitment to you that we will do all we can as a university to help your child to succeed academically and to gain the kind of experience that will help them to enter their chosen career and make the world a better place. I know that you're concerned about the quality of your child's university experience under lockdown. And also during protests, you're concerned about their safety, and you're also asking questions, is this physically distanced learning going to deliver the quality of education that you want for your child? We are very aware of the stresses that lockdown has placed on everyone, but specifically our young people. So we are initiating a range of activities to help first-year students not only to slot into their studies, but also to find ways to connect with others who share their interests. We are also aware of the pressure that campus protests can put on some students, and we're taking care, as much as we think it's a space for them to grow and learn, we're taking care that they have good advice and we protect all students on campus. The first year experience is an important part of UCT. Our orientation program helps students find their way around campus, and many different UCT support services are available to them. They are here to get a feel for the study options they can choose, to make friends and begin to feel at home here, where they live in residence, whether they live in residence or off campus. We look out for students who may feel lost or confused or scared by the challenges of the university, while providing ways for everyone to learn to feel that this is their new home. This year, the first year orientation program is online. And although residences have some face-to-face activities within strict health and safety protocols, we pushed everything online so that they can engage with their first year orientation program that way. Students will be supported by orientation leaders, academic support staff, and faculty coordinators to navigate the digital space. We have a laptop distribution project and data available for students who need it. Student organizations, including the SRC, have been promoting their activities. And of course, we were expecting the SRC president to be here this morning to talk with you parents, to let you know how they lead your children. But as you can imagine, our student leaders are hard at work leading on the ground because their constituency is in pain and they've got to provide leadership on the ground to their constituency. So the SRC president will not be here today. Students can find out about the wide array of student societies, the sports clubs, student governance and leadership opportunities, and other special interest organizations on the hashtag #GetInvolvedVulaTap, hosted by the Department of Student Affairs. And within residences, wardens, house committees, peer mentors, and sub-wardens are all focused on welcoming students and ensuring they settle safely and happily. Academically, the quality of teaching and learning remains at the same high standard that we have put ourselves as UCT. It's delivered in ways to help your child to succeed. For the first semester of 2021, UCT's teaching and learning model will be based on what we have termed a low-density campus to protect the health and safety of students and staff members. Before the pandemic, we knew that with all the technological and other developments unfolding in the world, higher education would have to take on new forms. We were already committed to help lead the changes we know are coming. Last year forced us to make some transitions very quickly. Now we are applying the lessons we learned in 2020 to help shape UCT's physically distanced learning program in 2021. Those lessons that we learned from last year include many successes. For example, many academics and students had more interaction with each other than they've ever had when they attended physical lectures. And that interaction was through digital means. The university experience grew beyond the normal lesson times. Students were finding new ways to review the material, ask questions, and get support. By the second semester, students were achieving academic results that were very much like those of the previous year before lockdown. Last year was not easy at all, but it did demonstrate that we are serving our students and you, their parents and sponsors, with consistent quality through physically distanced learning. Undergraduate teaching at UCT this year will use a combination of online activities, face-to-face teaching of small groups in adequately ventilated venues, and physically distanced activities in low-density labs and studios operating on a rotation basis. And this we do to reduce the number of people in each space at any time. We used many of the arrangements very effectively last year. They will allow UCT to continue to offer our excellent academic programs in a way that is safe and secure as possible for our students and staff alike. For your peace of mind, we are confident that all teaching venues ventilated for use during the year are safe with appropriate ventilation. All health protocols, including the compulsory wearing of masks, physical distancing and sanitation, are in place to ensure we take care of ourselves and each other as we fight this pandemic together. Our focus is to build engaging and meaningful learning, even whilst we limit physical access to campus. We are creating digital spaces that constitute classrooms where students can find learning materials, engage in activities, communicate with their peers, and connect with staff online. Students and teachers can post texts, photos, videos, voice notes, and links with opportunities for the class to respond with comments and interactions. The fact that you're attending this orientation session means that your child is an achiever. We received applications for more than 44,000 applicants for fewer than 4,000 spaces. So it is no small achievement just to get accepted. By entrusting your child to us, you become an important part of UCT. Throughout the year, I will email you UCT update newsletters to keep you informed about life at your child's university home. And this session is intended to give you a glimpse into UCT life and how we will prepare your child for the future. I should say actually, how we will prepare your child for a rapidly changing world and an uncertain future, because that's what it is. But before we even go there, it is very important that I first share with you what the purposes of a university are. And this is important so that we are on the same page as we work with your child throughout their studies at UCT. Our first purpose as a university is to produce knowledge. To produce knowledge so that we can better understand our natural and social worlds and enrich our scientific and cultural heritage. And this means that we test the inherited knowledge of earlier generations. We dismantle the jargon that sometimes masquerades as knowledge, and we reinvigorate knowledge, and we share our findings with others on many platforms. We undertake research into the mysteries and hidden secrets of life and most theoretical and intractable uncertainties of knowledge. At the same time, we also strive to apply our discoveries in ways that will benefit humanity. We operate on both the short and long horizon. On the one hand, we grapple with urgent and contemporary problems and seek solutions to these. On the other hand, we delve into issues and undertake inquiries that may not appear immediately relevant to others, but have proven potential to yield great future benefit for humanity. Our second purpose as a university is to disseminate knowledge and to develop critical and creative thinking. Our goal is for our students to think imaginatively, to think effectively and critically, and to achieve depth in some field of knowledge that they choose. We want them to appreciate how we gain knowledge and understanding of the universe and also understanding of society and of ourselves, to have a broad knowledge of other cultures and other times. We do not teach our students to just accept what is written in books or what adults say. We want them to critique ideas and views, irrespective of where they come from, even if they come from us. We encourage them to construct alternatives to those views and to communicate them convincingly, orally, and in writing. Our final purpose as a university is to be socially responsive, whether this is as part of academic courses or students' voluntary participation in community engagement projects. So by coming to UCT, students and staff commit to the pursuit of knowledge and understanding as the vital means to self-betterment and the betterment of humankind. Many parents send their children to university to earn a degree so that they can get a job, and that's okay. But university life and university education is not just about studying. It is also important that students explore different interests, discover new skills, and have a healthy, balanced lifestyle. So we offer a wide choice of activities for them to participate in, including almost 40 sporting clubs, more than 100 student societies and organizations that reflect a wide range of interests, a wide range of opportunities to volunteer in community development projects where your child can help make a lasting social impact. I know we all feel the effects of rising costs and the effects of the pandemic on the economy. We as a university feel it too. Last year, UCT incurred many additional expenses to support students to successfully complete their year. We were grateful to receive donations to help meet these unexpected costs. Last year alone, we were grateful to receive donations to help meet these unexpected costs. We provided a total of close to 1.4 billion rands in financial assistance at both undergraduate and postgraduate level. And some of that 1.4 billion rands came from our own budget. I have to say student financial aid is the largest budget item. We don't want finances to limit the opportunities of students, particularly students who have potential to strive here at UCT, to thrive here at UCT. We make financial assistance available as much as we can. We even make bailout funds available at this time of the year for students who might have been financially excluded. In fact, student financial aid, as I said, remains the largest budget item for us at UCT. It is important that you know UCT's tuition fee is all-inclusive. I know it looks high, but it includes everything. We do not charge additional fees for services like access to unlimited Wi-Fi, libraries, computer centers, even our JEMI shuttle transport service and lab materials, facilities for students with disabilities. All of that is free. We know that those costs can add up to quite a lot at other universities, but we want our students, irrespective of their socioeconomic background, to have full access to whatever they need to strive in their studies, whether it's a project that they need to submit or anything that they need to succeed. We are committed to providing the maximum possible support for students online and on campus. We have launched new services like UCT Cares and expanded learning analytics to help faculties and lecturers follow up proactively with students who may be struggling. We are aware of the stresses students around the world are facing today, so we offer student wellness services, early assessment and mental support for all students, with emphasis on vulnerable students. Our student mental health policy recognizes the effect emotional stress can have on a student's quality of life and academic success. Of course, a caring community also reaches out to support people with physical, mental, and learning disabilities. Our disability service office works with faculties to ensure students have full access to the assistance they need. We have an inclusivity policy on sexual orientation because we want to make sure that UCT is a safe space for LGBTIQA+ students and staff. We want our graduates to be judged on the unique gifts and their excellence, and not on how they fit into preconceived notions of how they should be. Our goal is to offer everyone who comes to UCT a place where we value each other, even coming from different points of view. At UCT, there is no place for racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, or any other kind of chauvinistic behavior. Everyone is treated equally and equitably. We do our best to make that happen. We are guided by the values of the South African Constitution and Bill of Rights. Everyone at UCT, other students, academics, wardens, technicians, secretaries, JEMI drivers, cleaners, and garden staff, the management and the Vice Chancellor deserves the respect and dignity. Parents, let me emphasize that there is absolutely no place at UCT for despicable, offensive, and violent conduct or abuse. And whenever we find that happening, we deal with it. We want UCT members to have the courage to report such conduct with the confidence that we will act. And we want you to encourage your child, if they ever get into a space of sexual and gender-based violence or whatever, to report it so that we can deal with it. Last December, the UCT Council approved our new policy and disciplinary procedures for sexual misconduct, which are based on a process that minimizes trauma to the survivor and makes available legal, medical, and social support to the survivor. Sadly, crime is also a reality in South Africa, in Cape Town, and thus at UCT too. And it is for this reason that we are constantly upgrading our security technology and expertise. The security of your child whilst on campus and other people on our campuses is our top priority. Of course, your big question may be, or probably should be, how can I support my child to succeed at UCT? And here's one way you can support your students to make sure that they succeed. Just make sure that they're aware of all the services we offer and how to access them. Much of this information I'm giving you today is available through our dedicated student portal. You just have to go to students.uct.ac.za. At UCT, we do all we can to help your child to succeed in earning their degree. But support from home is vital. We cannot replace it. So I urge you parents to be involved and be interested in your child's studies in a good way. Never assume that your child is smart enough to cope on their own, that because they've been a distinction student for 12 years of basic education, that they will automatically thrive at varsity. The challenges are different here. While we encourage students to ask questions, we also understand that it can be uncomfortable for them to do so. So your child needs your support more now than ever before. Your child is here to succeed. And that's what we want. It is in our interest. Their success is in our interest. They need to know that it is okay if they are not top of the class, because we find that when students come into one space and they all have been successful, they're all distinction students, even a 70% for them is not acceptable. And then they start thinking that they are failing or they are not doing well. Many successful professionals struggled at university. You can help your child to stick to the hard work they need to do to find their feet. And if they fail one test, the first test normally is hard, encourage them rather than blaming them that they are not studying hard. It is natural for students to change whilst at university, and you might see some changes in your child. Here are a few things that parents are not always ready to see. Every student above age 18 is a legal adult in our country. So we treat our students as adults and we expect them to behave as such. So for instance, we do not send marks home to parents. You as a parent will need to get that information from your child. We will not send the marks from them to you. For many students, the first year at varsity is the first time they face life as adults. They're facing it independently from you, their parents. So in addition to meeting tough new academic demands, they are also discovering things about themselves and the kind of person they want to be. And you can make it easier by offering as much support as you can. Your students might come home during varsity break as a different individual, maybe with a new hairstyle, a new piercing, an unusual question. Remember, they need this break to relax during varsity break. Maybe you want to listen to them this time rather than just wait to tell them what they need to do. University is very different from high school. There is a lot of work. The pace is rapid, and an unorganized child or an unorganized student may lag behind and risk failure. Your child may struggle to adjust academically or perhaps socially or psychologically. So we need to work together to ensure that they overcome these challenges and succeed. And yes, students do overcome these challenges. Sometimes they start with them, but they get better with time. Finally, let me say to you, UCT is unapologetically African, and we are globally competitive. This is a place for ideas, a place where people from different backgrounds with different ideologies and cultural beliefs can share the space. We educate our students to be global citizens prepared for the international workplace and the international life in multicultural societies. While we are responsive to the challenges of our country and our continent, we want our agenda and our outlook to be not just national, but international. And this is good for your child. For this reason, we recruit international students and staff to make sure that our graduates can hold their own anywhere in the world, that they do not see for the first time people from other countries when they graduate. And having such a multicultural campus is a strength. Being able to relate with people from different cultures will come in handy when your child leaves university to start a career. So help them to be open-minded, engage with people from different walks of life, because that's part of their learning. Finally, let me welcome you to UCT. This is your university too, and I'm happy to work with you in taking care of your child. Welcome and thank you. I want to at this point welcome the registrar, who's going to tell you how the university operates, our governance processes, and all the kinds of information that you need as a parent. Over to you, Royston.
Thank you, Vice Chancellor. Good afternoon to all who are attending this online event today, to our parents and to friends of the University of Cape Town. We certainly appreciate being your child's university of choice, and of course we remain committed to fulfilling our obligations that flow from that. As we all understand, there are many factors that go into a decision as to which university to study at. And together with your son, your daughter, we are pleased that you have chosen UCT as the institution that will profoundly impact the next phase of your child's life. The University of Cape Town is indeed a special place. It has a physical location of natural beauty. Unfortunately, if we had not been in the immediate post-COVID and still in many ways in a COVID phase, we would have been having this meeting on our upper campus in the at the focal point in terms of Sarah Baartman Hall, and you would have been able to appreciate the physical location of natural beauty that I'm making reference to. But UCT is also an institution with an academic reputation that is known around the world. It has a magnificent library, and we have an extent of 25 square kilometers in terms of the campus and the satellites. And that I think is pretty significant statistic to be aware of. 25 square kilometers, that's the extent of UCT. It is the oldest university in South Africa, having started in 1829 as a school for boys. Now we've come a long way since, with women today making up 52% of the UCT student body. That is a statistic that we are extremely proud of and committed to continuing to work at to improve. By South African standards, we are a medium-sized institution of just under 30,000 students, and we have in the region of 7,400 beds in our residence system. So in addition to the main campus that many are familiar with, if not having visited the campus itself, certainly in terms of what you see from the photographs and the pictures, but in addition to the main campus, there are satellite campus in Observatory, where we have our health sciences faculty, in Gardens in the city, where we have our fine arts school and the Department of Drama, at the waterfront in the CBD, where we have our business school, and we also have a solution space hub in the Philippi village, which is at the epicenter of Cape Town's townships. And we're particularly proud of that operation as well. And although in 2020, our Jamie shuttles did not travel the kilometer distances that it normally would because of the lockdown, in an ordinary year, our Jamie shuttle transport operation would travel in the region of 1 million kilometers. UCT, like all other public universities in the country and around the world, is governed through a range of policies and committees. The Vice Chancellor is the Chief Executive of the organization, and together with a team runs the university. And students, through their leadership structures, participate as full members in the decision-making processes, right up to the most senior governance body of this institution. So our students are represented on the University Council. So there are huge opportunities that exist for our students, but of course, those opportunities go along with the associated responsibilities. And with respect to those responsibilities, I need to make mention of the fact that student rules of conduct do exist. They are necessary to exist, and we apply them. They are published, not hidden away anywhere. They are published, they are available on the website. And as an educational institution, it is appropriate that the student conduct rules are informed by the values of the institution. And in this regard, I'd like to make special reference to those values, including the value of fairness, the value of truth, and the value of respect. Now, we know that there are some immediate common concerns and issues that quite understandably would be uppermost in the minds of parents at this time. Initiation practices at universities, for example, we have a very firm position on this, as a zero tolerance, and we have not had reports for a number of years now of initiation practices in our residences or in the institution at large. And were that to occur, we're certainly committed to dealing with it, because we believe that nobody should be treated in a way that is demeaning. The Vice Chancellor has already made reference to another concern that parents typically have and ask questions about at this time of the year, and that is, can I get an academic progress report for my child? The point that the VC made is an important one. It is so important that I just want to underscore it by basically making the point that while your child is at high school, typically would be a minor under the age of 18, and many of our students, once they join the university as first-year students, would still be minors under the age of 18. It is the case, though, that by June of any first year, typically our students would have reached the age of 18, and therefore they no longer have the status of minors. This is really, really important because the university regards the contract that we enter into to be with the adult student and not with the parent. And that is at the heart of why we take the position that when we get requests for information about the student with whom we have a contract, whether that information request comes from a parent, from a funder, or from another third party, we protect the information that belongs to the adult student. And as had been indicated previously by the VC, that is the reason why we are not in a position, and we have to respectfully decline the request that we get from parents to have access to, for example, exam results of your child. What we do advise, though, is in anticipation of the fact that, of course, as parents, you certainly want to know about the progress of your child. You have an interest in that, and it is quite understandable that you would want to know about that. Our advice, though, is that at a very early stage, therefore, to negotiate an arrangement with your child as to how he, she, they will keep you informed of progress during the course of the year. So that is a conversation and an agreement, a compact that you enter into at a very early stage already. The Vice-Chancellor has made reference to, what parents can do in support of their child or children at the university, so I will not make any further comment on that, other than to make the point that the pace of a university career is very fast, and this year in particular is starting much later than we ordinarily would. It's not peculiar to UCT. Again, as a consequence of our COVID reality in the country and in the world, this year, 2021, starts about a month later than a typical academic year for UCT would. But once it starts, the pace is quite significant, and we run the university on the basis academically of 2 semesters, each of which would have a minimum of 60 teaching days. So in a typical year at UCT, the number of teaching days for our undergraduate students would be 120 divided into 2 semesters of 60 each. I do want to make the point that as a university, we operate within the context of broader society. And UCT, cognizant of the fact that it is located in broader society, has to make sure that it continues to be relevant. It has to function in the context of a changing world because we are not an island. And it has to recognize, as we do, and certainly make efforts to recognize, that those who study here and those who work here have not all traveled the same life's path to reach this destination that is the University of Cape Town. We have to accept and we have to embrace the fact that our students will raise issues that may not have been raised before. And a learning institution recognizes that will continue to be necessary in order for that learning institution to continue to be a relevant institution. The University of Cape Town is a complex organization, as is the case with just about all public universities. It is a large organization. We have a community of over 35,000 people within what actually is a little town, if we include staff and students. And we offer multiple services that a complex system like ours is ordinarily required to offer. We do, of course, aim to get it right more often than not, and we always strive to make improvements. But we do have challenges, and we recognize that. And our invitation, therefore, to you is to invite you to let us have your feedback as to how we can do better. Welcome to the University of Cape Town. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Royston. Thank you for that. I want to invite Professor Liz Lange. She's our Deputy Vice Chancellor for Teaching and Learning. She's been hard at work since COVID started, working with faculty deans as well as academics to restructure how we teach, still making sure that we offer the high quality education that we're known for. And this year, as I explained earlier, we are moving on to physically distanced learning in a low density campus, all managed by Professor Liz Lange. And I'm going to introduce her to you so that she can tell you how the academic year will unfold this year, the plans that we have in place. Of course, we'll continue to communicate with you, but it's important to know what our plans are, particularly for the first semester and second semester. Liz?
Thank you very much. Good morning and greetings to you all. As the Vice Chancellor said, I'm Associate Professor Lange, and my responsibility is the teaching and learning portfolio at UCT. The mere fact that UCT has a teaching and learning portfolio is telling all of us of the central role that teaching and learning has at the university, at the importance that the university attaches to the work that we do in this area. As the Vice Chancellor mentioned, last year we were particularly busy and a little bit anxious because it was a situation in which we had to very quickly make decisions and move all our courses into a new mode of delivery. And I think that all things considered, when we look at our scorecard, we haven't done all that badly, and the Vice Chancellor mentioned some of the things that we done rather well. Each of us has said one way or the other that UCT is a great institution, and that's very, very true. It is a very great institution, and there is, amongst many other reasons, it is a great institution because we have the human resources and the technological capability to move comfortably in an online environment. So when we had to do this, we could rely on the technical expertise of our staff and on the deep knowledge of teaching and learning as a discipline that our staff has in all the faculties. Of course, remote teaching started as an emergency, but during that process, we have learned a number of things that allow us to now face 2021 with a sense of normality, if you want to. The emergency is over, and this is the mode in which we are working. The Vice Chancellor mentioned what are the characteristics that teaching and learning will have during this year, in the sense that there's going to be a combination of online activities and face-to-face activities, and that those face-to-face activities are going to be characterized by keeping physical distance and observing COVID-19 health protocols. The important thing to say is that it doesn't matter under what mode of delivery, we are keeping the highest possible standards of teaching and learning for our students across all UCT faculties. Since March last year, our academics have been participated in a number of webinars and training courses that focus on improving course content, course design, the activities, the design of the activities proposed in the curricula, and the assessment that we use in a digital environment. We could offer this because for many years before COVID hit, UCT developed an international reputation for our ability to work in this area. And the reality is that many of our sister universities in South Africa have been made use freely of the resources for teaching lecturers that UCT has made available. So we are quite happy that when COVID hit, we were able to respond and to respond well. Having been able to respond does not mean that there were not risks, that there were not things that they didn't go the way we wanted them to go, and that there were no problems. But what it means fundamentally is that we were very good at troubleshooting effectively, that we learned from our mistakes, and that we also saw important successes. And I think that the Vice Chancellor has mentioned some of them. Students and staff came together in different ways, and they understood each other in their own lived realities much better. And also, interestingly enough, we have managed to stabilize the performance of our students. The Vice Chancellor mentioned that by last semester, last year, we were having the same level of performance that we were having in 2019 under so-called normal conditions. So in that sense, we are actually quite happy. I know that you are probably concerned about physically distanced learning not being the real thing. But I really would like to reassure you in the same way that the Vice Chancellor has done, that this is not only the real thing, this is the future. And in that sense, it is very, very real. Before COVID-19, we knew that digitally enabled education was the way in which the future of higher education was going to manifest globally. And the reality is that the world in which we live requires all of us, and definitely the new generations, to master digital skills and to be able to function in a way that we can master technologies. So with these skills, we expect that our students will be able to address many of South Africans' challenges and to lead all of us into a better future. This year, as I mentioned, is going to be a combination of different modes of delivery, and I'm going to talk just now about how different faculties will take this. What it is important to know is that course content, activities and assessments are organized through course sites in VULA, which is UCT's easy access online environment where all our teaching and learning materials are. All courses, learning materials and communications will be available in VULA. We use Microsoft or Zoom for synchronous activities. Most lectures are recorded, and when we use PowerPoint presentations, all of those presentations are also captioned. So students have all the information for them to access these lectures again and again. We have also special online tools that help students to get feedback, to collaborate, to meet with other students in their virtual classes, and to work even with handwritten and sketch type of assignments in a digital environment. So no student is missing out in what they would have received otherwise. So this is the real thing, and it is so much the real thing that all our students will have a normal load of work to do during this year. The expectation that UCT has is 45 hours of investment in learning on the part of students every week. And there is a reason why UCT is the top institution in the country, and it is because we teach more than other universities, and we demand more than other universities. Now, let me tell you a little bit about how the organization of the courses is going to be. Different faculties have chosen different approaches within the broader environment of a low-density university and physically distanced learning. The Faculty of Engineering and the Built Environment and the Faculty of Health Sciences require all of their students to be physically present to take certain type of classes and exercises with presence on campus. And although they have online lectures in some cases, they need to do laboratory work, tutorial work, and special arrangements for pedagogy in the respective faculties. The faculties of humanities, commerce, and science distinguish between different courses and the requirements for these courses. All the information about these things have been given to the students already, but when you meet with the deans, they will explain them further, and all the detailed information is in the web pages of the universities. Finally, the Faculty of Law is conducting all its courses online, and so it is for all the cases important that the students contact the courses conveners. There is a number of tutors who will help them, who will guide them, and who will there to support them. Now, in order to maintain the notion of the low density campus, we are encouraging students who do not need to be on campus because of the academic requirements of the faculty not to come to campus unless they actually need to. So what do students need to work from home? They need a stable internet connection. They need a device that can be a desktop computer, a laptop, or a tablet. And of course, they need a dedicated space where to work. Because that creates a routine, a sense of responsibility, a sense of things that need to happen. UCT provides laboratories, computer labs, study spaces, and free Wi-Fi on campus. That's part of what the university offers, and these are available to all students who are in Cape Town, even if they are not in residence. UCT is providing data bundles for all students who opt in to receive this service if they do not have adequate data access at home. Computers laboratories are serviced by the Information and Communications Communications Technology Services of the universities, and they will be open for the use of undergraduate students. There is, of course, a strict protocol in terms of usage of the laboratories, cleaning, rotations, and health requirements in terms of wearing masks and sanitation, etc. We have a fantastic library. The registrar has mentioned that, and the library has developed during lockdown a comprehensive virtual library service that it is entirely available to students who are not on campus. And of course, now under lockdown 1, the library is open for students to use on campus. To maintain social connections, we actually encourage students to become part of peer buddy groups and to be able to chat to each other in WhatsApp groups and in using the VULA tools such as forums and chat. Providing holistic, innovative, future-oriented teaching and learning is one of the goals of UCT. It forms part of our new strategy, Vision 2030. We aim to produce graduates who will not only be prepared to work in a particular niche in the labor market, but who will be critical thinkers, who will help to transform the world. UCT wants to unleash the potential of all its students to act as resilient agents of change for themselves and for the broader society. As educators, we aim to create the best possible environment for this type of education to take place. So, like my colleagues before, I thank you for trusting us with the education of your children. And now, just as a matter of boasting a little bit, I would like to introduce you a video about the manner in which UCT approaches education that had been prepared by my colleagues in the Center for Innovation in Teaching and Learning.
Welcome to the University of Cape Town. You may be wondering whether students starting at UCT this year will have the usual first-year experience. Due to the pandemic, it will be different, but they are getting a unique opportunity to build their capabilities to succeed in a digital world. Last year, UCT responded to the COVID threat by moving all of our teaching into online modes in a matter of weeks. Our students continue to learn and our staff to teach by making use of digital technologies to create interactive online classrooms. Building on valuable lessons learned last year, we have improved our support and teaching methods to create the best possible teaching and learning environment for our students. So, how will students be taught? In 2021, we will combine online learning with face-to-face, physically distanced teaching to create stimulating and supportive spaces for learning. Even though classrooms will be mostly online, they will remain places of deep learning and interaction. Whether learning online or face-to-face, students will be engaged in a full day of learning activities, just like they would have been on campus. There will be a timetable and lectures and online learning activities, and in some cases, activities that require students to be on campus. Our online platforms will enable students to participate in class discussions, tutorials, and group work, and interact directly with tutors and lecturers. And when students are required to be on campus, careful protocols will be in place to ensure a safe environment for face-to-face tutorials, practical work, tests, and exams. To get the most out of the online learning experience, students will need a laptop or a desktop and a reliable connection to Wi-Fi or mobile data. Students in UCT residences will have access to campus Wi-Fi. To ensure that all our students can experience the best possible learning environment, UCT will provide monthly data bundles to students who don't have adequate Wi-Fi or mobile access. Additionally, students living in Cape Town will be able to access physically distanced study spaces on campus during the day. These spaces offer full connectivity, enabling students with poor connectivity in their home environment to access online learning experiences. Course conveners and faculty staff will communicate with students about what they need for their course and when they need to be on campus. We know that studying in this unfamiliar way will be hard at times, so we have ensured that there are various online support services for students to help them to navigate this space. Please encourage your student to make use of the many online UCT student support services. Students will have access to their tutors, course conveners, and student advisors for academic support, as well as virtual services such as the Writing Centre and libraries. Students can also contact UCT Cares, which is a centralised help service that directs student requests to the relevant department or service unit. Finally, we know that staying socially connected is important for mental health and general well-being. Encourage students to join some of the societies, cultural organisations and sports clubs that remain vibrant and active both virtually and face-to-face. Also, the UCT Student Wellness Services offers phone counselling with professionals and a 24-hour student care line. As an institution of higher learning, we will strive to ensure that all students have an engaging and enriching beginning to their learning experience at the University of Cape Town.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Les. I've been watching the questions that are coming up, and I think I would like some of them because I think they may be affecting many parents. I'm going to ask some of them to our registrar, Mr. Royston Pile, and some of them to Associate Professor Les Lange to answer just now. Royston, can you help with the question of registration? Some parents are concerned about whether we'll still be open for registration, extend registration by 2 weeks, given what the minister has said. As you are coming online, Royston, I just want to say to parents that we advise you to encourage your child to register as soon as they can. As long as they're available, let them register. If they applied for NSFAS, they are still waiting. My advice is that let them register and the outcome will come rather than wait because they don't know what NSFAS does. But regarding the 12-day, the 2 weeks, Royston. Can you help parents there?
Yes, Gertie, the advice is, in the case of the NSFAS example, because we are sure that we will have responses from NSFAS in the immediate term, that students should actually proceed to register. It may be the case that 2 weeks later, students who are expecting to receive NSFAS may get a NSFAS funding, may get a different response from NSFAS. We will have to deal with those situations at the time, but I don't think that should stop the registration of students who are in doubt at this stage, where they already have an offer of a study place. For students who have found themselves in a situation where they've applied to a particular faculty, where they've had a response from that faculty, where the faculty is waiting for them to register and they have not yet done so, we will align ourselves with the national position of an extension of the registration period for the 2 weeks, but in those faculties where students have had an offer. If an offer has not yet been made, or if there was a conditional offer that had been withdrawn, and those particular programs are already fully subscribed, it would not be right for the university to create the impression that the students can still register in the 2-week period where the offer had already been declined because it was conditional and a condition that had not been met. But the principle is that the university will align itself with the national position to extend the registration period by 2 weeks because of the NSFAS situation, and we are open to making the necessary accommodations, particularly in those areas where students have had offers confirmed, but they have not yet concluded their registration process. So we are available and open to making those accommodations. Thank you.
Thank you, Royston. Royston, before you go, let me just respond to one question and then pose the next one. I'm just going to pause. I've been trying to respond to as many questions as possible. DVC Lanya explained the issue with students who are required on campus. It is indeed faculty dependent, I think, as Les explained the different areas where students are required to be on campus. But there's a question about dates on which, whether there's a possibility of students dropping courses who are registering now. What's the due date in that regard, because the academic year has sort of changed? Royston?
Yeah, we would normally follow the process in a normal year. There would be the first week of lectures and students would ordinarily have an opportunity to change courses during that first week. So essentially we will apply the same principle. In the first week of lectures, students may be attending lectures for courses A or B. They may decide they don't particularly like that, they would prefer something else. There is an opportunity by the end of the first week of lectures to make changes to the courses that they may have registered for already. That provision will continue to apply. The dates of course change, but the principle of being able to change courses after the first immediate period of lectures, that principle remains. So that is possible, yes.
Thanks very much, Royston. A final question about money. Some parents are saying, should we pay now the fee that's needed? They are waiting for us. Can you give them advice, Royston?
Yeah, I mean, the fee provisions, the university does not charge a registration fee, but we do have a fee dispensation that requires the initial payment to be made by the dates specified. We encourage parents to meet those dates. We know that in the case of NSFAS funded students that won't apply, but that's not a problem because the university will get the fees paid by NSFAS. In the case of parents, students who have applied for NSFAS, they are still waiting. We accept and understand that in those instances, parents will not be able to make the initial payment by the deadline concerned, and the university would certainly then, as I'd indicated early on, have to engage the issue of how to handle the circumstances when, if 2 weeks later, NSFAS has made a decision where certain students who are dependent on funding do not get that. We certainly don't want to be in a position where the practices and the policies of the university are going to compound the difficulties for parents. But in answer to the question, where the students have registered for courses, where it's not NSFAS, we are certainly, and there's certainty that the student will be a UCT student in 2021. The appeal is to please proceed to make the payments according to the dates as specified in the fee policy, as would have been communicated to the student.
Thanks very much, Royston. In closing, thank you very much for joining us for this. I want to close on an answer to this question from Anonymous, who says, you said that UCT provides support for students from low socioeconomic backgrounds. How do you do that? We do that through our student financial aid. We do that through providing psychosocial support that prioritizes students from low socioeconomic backgrounds. They get priority more than anyone. And finally, we do that academically. We've got academic development programs in every faculty. Students from low socioeconomic backgrounds who feel that they might feel that they need a longish time to complete their course, they get into the extended program. In some faculties, they even get into a separate support class so that they get support. So we provide support, academic support for students from low socioeconomic background, psychosocial support, and also financial support. It's all-round support that we provide, and we have in the past few years also supported the missing middle. And one can ask, why do we have bailout funds, budget for bailing out students from low socioeconomic backgrounds if they get NSFAS? It's because even when they get NSFAS, NSFAS has got requirements, academic requirements, and sometimes they don't meet those requirements. If they meet our requirements to succeed, the bailout fund serves them, and we make that money available for them so that we make sure that they are not left behind. I hope you found the session informative. There are sessions with faculties, the deans are waiting, and they will give you more information that's faculty specific. There's someone who asked about career advisors. There are advisors, academic advisors in faculties. Please ask when you get to the deans for your child to get advice there, because career services office, our career services office does something else. They will, your daughter, your son, your child will get more information on how to use the career services office, which supports our students even beyond graduation. But thank you for choosing UCT, for being here for this program, and I hope you find the entire afternoon useful. Thank you very much and good afternoon.